Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info tab. Glad you made it today. What I wanted to talk to you about right now is presumptive conditions. There's been a lot of talk about them. The Vietnam folks, you guys are usually well aware of presumptives and what that means, simply because of all of the presumptive conditions, which is not, there's probably going to be more coming, but that list has grown over time, and the eligibility for those presumptive conditions for Agent Orange exposure has grown, right? So for the Gulf War vets, there's a whole list of presumptives that came out too. I'm not going to sit here and go through every single type of condition that's covered through the presumptives. What this video is about is more in lines with what does it really mean? What the heck is a presumptive? How is that different? Are those the only things I can file for if I served in these periods? So to kind of just separate things out a little bit so you can have a clear understanding on where presumptives fit in with you as a veteran and filing your VA claim. All right, so with that, hit that thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, comment below, all that good stuff. So presumptives, I'll try to keep it short, succinct for you. When you think of VA claims, a claim for yourself, you're filing a claim. That's the whole 1 foot, right, of width here that you have to work with. So you got all your 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch, everything is a different claim or whatever that you could file for you. So you have 1 full foot, and you're dealing with that. Presumptives fall into one little small section. So it's not only presumptives and that's all you can do. It just fits into your entire claim process, and it just takes up a little tiny place of things that you could file for under presumptive. Okay, so to understand and to get where they're coming from with presumptives, it's easy to understand it if I explain how the regular claim process works first, then jump into what the value of a presumptive is. Okay, so number one, when you're filing a claim in general, not a presumptive, a general claim with the VA, you need to show them proof of service. Right? I have active duty time from here to here. This active duty time creates a window of opportunity. Okay, so that window of opportunity is entry date, exit date. Then there is a 1-year buffer after that for diseases and those types of things, not injuries really, right? So not injuries after the fact, more of diseases, a 1 year after you got out. But for the most part, let's just focus on this window of entry and exit from your military. That's the number one thing. Number two thing is a diagnosed condition. The one thing that we're all really good at is self-diagnosing, and we might throw down 3 or 4 things on a claim because we know we have these things, and we write them down and we submit them to the VA, but we don't submit any evidence because we never went and got diagnosed, and the VA turns around and says not service connected. Then we get pissed off and we go, how can you say I'm not service connected for that? I've had it ever since I was in. Why are you denying me service connection? And we get all bent out of shape because the VA is not going to diagnose you for the condition you're filing a claim for. You have to go get diagnosed somewhere and provide that as evidence to the VA for your claim. Okay, so that's the number 2 thing. Diagnosis, important. Okay, so now we got time and service, gives us the window of opportunity, diagnosis to prove our condition. Then number 3, the third thing that you need is what they call a nexus, the link between the condition and that window of opportunity, your time and service. What they're not looking for is show me the military caused this to you, which we often think that's what they're looking for. It's not what they're looking for. What they're looking for is show me that condition manifested during your time in service. Now, the military could have caused it, right? A Humvee was up on a lift, fell off, and landed on your leg, jacked up your leg, and yes, your military service caused that issue. Or it could not. It could be, I come from a family of migraine sufferers, and everybody in my family has migraines, and now I have migraines. Chances are I was probably going to get migraines anyway. The VA does not care. All they care is that did you come in without them, and now you have them? Cool. Now you can get service connected. But you have to prove that they manifested during that time in service. It's usually hard for a lot of folks unless you went and actually documented it during your service, which means you're going to sick call, you're getting a line of duty statement written, you went to the hospital, you have that type of stuff documented in your file. Now, if you don't, or you didn't complain about it, then you get out. Now you have to kind of make a bridge back to your time in service. Explanations, lay statements, buddy statements, people that you served with that talk about what you've done, right? Talking about, hey, I knew him when he was in, or I knew her when she was in, and she always suffered from migraines, or he always suffered from heartburn, whatever. And you're building that bridge back to your time in service to create that nexus, okay? Now, here's the beauty of a presumptive. A presumptive condition eliminates the need for a nexus, okay? Eliminates the need for the nexus. That's huge because we were told, don't go to sick call, don't be weak, rub dirt on it, blah, blah, everything else, right? You can't complain about it because you won't get promoted, whatever the case is. And that's a whole other story, right? The fact is that we do a horrible job documenting any of our injuries, illnesses, sicknesses, whatever. So the presumptive eliminates the need for a nexus. So now the example would be so the VA will determine, first, before I get to the example, the VA will determine specific conditions, ailments, cancers, diseases, what have you, that are associated with certain areas in which we've served, and go, you know what, we're just going to concede. We, the VA, right? And I'm not part of the VA, but in this message that I'm saying, it just makes sense to talk that way. So we, the VA, concede. If you served in this area, so like Vietnam, or Gulf War in one of these areas, in this time frame, or you were in Camp Lejeune, right, the water, in this time frame. So they'll be specific with, did you serve in this location during this time period? And sometimes they'll have time frames. You had to be there for 30 days, like for the Camp Lejeune one, right? So Camp Lejeune, you had to be there 30 days. The Vietnam, Gulf War, 1 day, if you showed up there and you left, that's fine. So at that point, the VA just goes, you know what, you were there and it was within that time frame. And as long as you can show us that you were there during that time frame and you have a diagnosed condition of a presumptive condition, we don't need a nexus. You don't ever need to have complained about it. So like sinusitis, for example, right? Or diabetes for your Vietnam folks, right? So diabetes for Vietnam folks, sinusitis for Gulf War vets. You don't need to have complained about it at all, ever. You can go get diagnosed today. And if you serve during those time periods, if you have that condition and you serve there, you're automatically going to get service connected because it's a presumptive. So that's the beauty of presumptives. With that, I'll close it out. Thanks a lot. I appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.